everyone, welcome back to Rugby League. The NRL is back with a bang. If you're anything like me, you've watched a heap of footy over the weekend. How'd you find it, Greggy?
Yeah, I enjoyed it. I thought the one referee was an outstanding rule change. The rucks didn't affect the rucks whatsoever. If anything, the rucks were quicker. The penalty for infringement, the 6 game for infringement, I'll get used to it. Yourself?
Yeah, I'm with you. I think the it's only been 1 week, so there's going to be, like Eric Groth's column that he did for us this week, talking about the strengths and weaknesses of the one rule ref. There's going to be times where people are going to come down on it. It's human nature when it doesn't suit them. With the 6 again, I think it's going to be a bit of a tester for the heavily fatigued side, and it's going to bring out the different body shapes, isn't it? Like the Cameron Murrays and the Victor Radleys are really going to come to the fore compared to the bigger blokes.
Yeah, agree 100%.
Other big thing in the news, probably just in the last day or so, is, and that's why I'm wearing the old Redcliffe jumper here from when I was a kid. The Brisbane comp was strong, wasn't it, Greggy?
Yeah.
And I've got the Brisbane. They're one of the bids anyway. One of the 4 bids. The Brisbane Bombers are probably the one that are looking the most likely. They've come out just in the last 24 hours, Volandis and co, and said they'd like to see it expedited to 2022. Obviously, that's pretty close, and lots of things to be done with 4 bids in place. I believe that Ross Livermore's son is ahead of the Brisbane Bombers bid. What do you think of that happening and within that time frame?
Yeah, I think it's an inevitable. He's obviously sold the TV deal and the TV rights based on it. That's why the new rights start from 2022. He's sold the rights to Foxtel and Channel 9 based on there being 2 Brisbane teams. So every Friday night there'll be a Brisbane team at home, or Saturday there'll be a Brisbane team at home on TV. So I think it's a given. I think we're due for a change, so all good.
Yeah, I think so. When you think about the 2 main states in Australia with rugby league, I think you need to have more than the 3. I hope it's not going to be like some people are saying. It'll be the end of the Titans and it'll be another side. I don't think that's going to be the case. I think they've invested too much money.
700,000 people. Yeah, 700,000 people on the Gold Coast still. So I think as much as they may want to get rid of the Titans, I think they'll be here for a while longer.
Yeah, I hope so. Mate, should we have a look at the round that was?
Yeah, let's go for it.
All right. Look, we kicked off the resumption of the footy, NRL Round 3. The Broncos and Eels. It's at 34-6 to the Eels. We talked about that 6 again rule that really favoured the Eels. They looked fit. They looked well run by Brown and Moses, and their back rowers were pretty dominant. What do you make of it?
Yeah, I think you've summed it up well. I don't think there's much more to it outside that. The Broncos halves didn't get a chance to get into the game. The Broncos forwards never got a chance. The first 10 minutes, I think they might have had the ball for 2 sets of 6. And from there, good sides will put you away. And Parramatta are a bit better side than probably I gave them credit for.
Yeah, they look good, don't they? You're right about the possession. I think the Broncos had 40% possession. And through a lot of their own fault, and their completion rate was woeful. The Parramatta Eels didn't have a great completion rate. I think they were about 73%, but the Broncos were about 55%, and you can't win with that completion rate. The second game, the first Friday night game, Greggy, up in Townsville, Cowboys and the Titans. Now, look, it's not looking good for the Titans. I'm a Gold Coast, like you are, Greggy, a born and bred Gold Coast boy, but I can't see a win in the near future for them. The Cowboys ran out 36-6. What do you make of this?
I can see a win for them in about 2 weeks. Playing the Dragons. What do I make of this? Cowboys were good. I don't think they were brilliant, but they were good. And yet again, it's the same as the Parramatta game. The first 10 minutes, they dominated the possession. Titans got tired, and they didn't put them to the sword quite like Parramatta did, but eventually just caught up with the Titans. They ran out of ideas, and they just dominated from there for the Cowboys, and comfortable win. Half time, I said this game's over in my own head.
Yeah.
Yourself?
Oh, look, I thought the without Michael Morgan, their captain and their most experienced player, I thought they did really well in the halves. Jake Clifford really played well, I thought, along with Drinkwater. But the guy who just keeps on impressing, he very rarely plays a subpar game, is Tamalalo, and he was just under 300 metres again. I think he'll go down as a potential immortal. He's only 27, so he's still got a fair bit of football in front of him, and they haven't worked him out yet, have they?
No. I think even if they have worked him, when they do work him out, it's just he's got that leg drive. I think Tapau's got similar to him, not as good as him, but similar. It's just that leg drive. He just keeps driving, and if you commit 3 to him, then somebody else is going to find a gap, don't they?
Yeah. I'm sure he's a Queenslander, isn't he?
Yep. Born and bred in Upper Auckland or wherever it happens to be.
All right, the main Friday game, with no disrespect to the Cowboys and Titans, was the Roosters and the Rabbitohs. This is pretty eagerly anticipated, this one. Did it go to plan with you, Greg? Did you think something like that, 28-12?
Yeah, I was pretty convinced. I didn't get me right this weekend, but I got that one right. I was pretty convinced that the Roosters were going to be too good. I just didn't think that there was enough firepower in the South Sydney pack. I didn't know Murray was going to play off the edge, but in saying that, I think that didn't work. But, I just thought that there was too much power on the Roosters forwards. I'll tell you who surprised me. I thought Friend had an absolute blinder, and I thought with his age it might suit him. But I thought Friend was really good.
He looked really fit, didn't he?
I thought he was great. He's got
I think he'll be
written all over him. Yeah.
Yeah, talking about blokes who very rarely play a bad game, he's one of them. You mentioned Cameron Murray. I think, him and the Victor Radleys of this competition are really, they're the ones who are going to really, like we said earlier, they're the ones who will lead their side every week in this sort of competition.
Tedesco.
Yeah, but it didn't surprise me to score.
Tedesco's unbelievable.
Tedesco, he just keeps getting better and better too, doesn't he, mate? So, look, I thought the Rabbitohs had their chances during stages to catch up, but the Roosters are the consummate professionals. It's a really good buy. The second Morris brother, and they don't play bad games, do they? Professionals.
It wasn't. I think it was Brett Morris pulled off 3 tackles in a row over, a 60-metre period, 60-metre plays, where the bloke kept running 20 metres, but out of the blue, here came Morris. It was unbelievable.
Yeah. That movie Moneyball, like he is the absolute quintessential player that you get.
He is, isn't he? Yeah. Where they came from. Yeah.
The Warriors and the Dragons. Look, I know that you're a mad Dragon supporter, Greggy, but I suppose regardless of that, you've got to applaud the Warriors for making the decision to keep the competition in the 16-team format. But to pull this off, not many people pick this.
Yeah, I think. Look, everyone kept telling me, 44, you shouldn't be upset if you're Dragon supporter, 44, possessions without dropping the ball. A lot of that was because there was no pressure put on by the Dragons' defence, in my opinion. They didn't put enough pressure on New Zealand, on the Warriors to make those mistakes. And they did a great job, 44 sets in a row. That was brilliant, unheard of. Yeah, they were brilliant. But they were able to play that simple game to be able to do that because there was no pressure from the opposition. You know what I mean? Like, you tend to make mistakes when the opposition are putting pressure on you. When there's no pressure, you just hit it up for 6 and put a kick in.
Yeah. I thought Cody Nikorima played probably one of his best games.
He was good. He was really good.
But the guy who probably impressed me the most was Cameron McInnes. So he's a competitor. He did 75 tackles and didn't miss one, but that's not the thing. Is afterwards, he would have been filthy and disappointed, and to go up and do what he did the way that all the Dragons, but led by him, that's something that is a feather in the cap of rugby league, and it was great to see.
Yeah.
We go to the next game on Saturday, and the Sharks and the Tigers. They're going through a little bit of a rebuilding phase. The Tigers, the Sharks are to a degree. They lost some big names, but that was a pretty impressive performance. I was really, really impressed by the young hooker, Harry Grant. Greg.
Yeah, he was good, eh?
He's had big raps on him for a while.
Yeah, I thought he was impressive. I thought I was on a bit of a Facebook page there talking to a few other blokes who were a little bit upset from the earlier game, and we were just saying how much better it was to watch 2 halves control the game, and I thought Brooks and Marshall controlled that game brilliantly.
Yeah, me too.
They were just great. Yeah, I like the Tigers. Even when they're down 16-12 at half time, I thought they were the better side. That was just my opinion. I'm far from right most of the time. I just look better. They look more cohesive. and it came
No,
through in the second half.
I agree. They didn't seem to panic. I think in years gone by they might have.
They might have panicked, exactly. I think Maguire, if one thing Maguire brings to the side, it's that, Hamo.
Yeah. I thought their back row was impressive again. I like that. Alex Twal, he played lock this time, which means obviously these days just a middle forward. But no, they all did their job. You mentioned, I think Luke Brooks. We talked about Cody Nicarimo. I think that was one of Luke Brooks's games where he put his stamp on too. And I just like to see him do that more often. He's a really good ball runner, got a beautiful set of hands. But I love to see him run the ball. And if him and Benji can keep doing that with Harry Grant along there now, he just looks really sharp, doesn't he? I think they can go better than Knights.
The interesting thing is, Hamo, I know we're going to move on to the next game, but real quickly, Josh Reynolds, I don't think he's going to get a shot, is he? Especially with Walters there. And the thing is, this probably brings us to an overall point real quickly, is that there's no reserve grade games. So you can't play catch up. You can't keep you fit. It's easy. You played a lot more football than I did, but you miss 4 or 5 weeks where you're just not playing football at all, but you're fit. It's a totally different fitness. You're not game fit.
That's right, yeah. I think it was it Seabold? It was one of the Queensland coaches. I'm pretty sure it was Seabold came up and he said they're having a coaches conference. I know we've got to get off this game, and a number of coaches are promoting the idea of having their leftover players, for want of a better word, forming some teams and playing competition. So it might be the Cowboys, Titans, and the Broncos form a team against other sides.
They've got to do it.
It makes sense here, mate. All right, the big one, I guess, the big game of the round for me anyway, the Storm and the Raiders, and this was a real test, I guess, for the Raiders to see if they really are, the benchmark or thereabouts with the tops, and they left no one guessing, did they, after this game?
Yeah, they won the game, they dominated the game, they deserved the victory. I still thought it was the best game of the round. I think if you're a Melbourne supporter, you'd be pretty confident next week that your team will turn up, and the way Bellamy took. I still thought they played all right. They just didn't finish well, which is unusual for Melbourne.
Well, they're not used to being manhandled like that now either. That's the third loss. That's the third win the Raiders have had it over the Storm at Amy. I don't know. I'd like to, if we had someone to check the record. I don't know when a team's done that before, or if a team has done that before.
You'd probably think maybe Cronulla or Manly. That's about the only two that you'd think. Yeah. But may not have happened.
Takes us to the Panthers and Knights. This was a really entertaining game from a couple of really young sides with some very young playmakers in them. They had more kicks at field goal than you could poke a stick at, but it was a beauty, and it probably rightly so. It ended up a draw, and I think they showed a lot of heart, the Knights, to hang in there, considering Ponga didn't play, and then they lost their halfback Mitchell Pearce, the skipper, and they lost their hooker Connor Watson, all both in the first 15 minutes. So to hang in there and do that, I thought showed a lot of ticket. Yeah,
I thought Newcastle should have won the game. I think they deserved the win based on what you said there with the injuries to those key players. I thought they scored 3 tries to 2. They bombed the try with 5 metres out, in extra time. I feel a bit for Newcastle. I think Newcastle can grow from that. I'm all up on Newcastle and Penrith after that game. That Penrith got their halves to come back. I'm more up on Newcastle after that game.
Yep. No, I agree. I thought Edric Lee was over. I'm pretty sure it was Edric Lee in the last couple of minutes.
And, Edric Lee, the ball went and passed. When it went behind him slightly. Yeah, oh, God, yeah.
But look, great game, and a lot of kids stood up. I thought Tex Hoy was great, but one bloke who stands out, I think, he's going to be a representative player. He's a big, strong, hard runner, and that's at Bradman Best. Doesn't he look the goods? Yeah, he's he can hit a hole. He runs a beautiful angle. So they're getting some good young homegrown products there in Newcastle.
Yeah. They're 3 years from a premiership, I reckon. 2 years.
Yeah, well, Adam O'Brien started his coaching career well. He goes into round 4 undefeated at the moment, so not many blokes could say that, especially with a club, I guess, in a rebuild like Newcastle. They didn't finish as well as they would have liked to have last year. That brings us to round 4, Greggy.
First, just finally, Hamo, I know it wasn't much of a game, but Manly-Canterbury game there too to finish on Sunday night too.
What am I doing? Sorry to all Manly and Canterbury supporters.
Sorry to those supporters. Well, there's plenty of them out there too, so we better quickly go over the game.
Yeah, sorry, mate. Yeah, look, I wrote in, with Two Good Sports on the poll this week, I said, look, does anyone else sense a bit of an upset? And the silence was deafening, and rightly so. Manly looked in complete control of that game, Greg.
It wasn't a very good game to watch, to be honest, because it was just you never, ever, ever thought that Manly were going to lose when you're watching that game. And Manly bombed a few tries. The goal kicker, young Herbert, he missed 5 shots or 6 shots at goal.
Yeah.
They could have won that by 40 or 50, I reckon.
Yeah.
Tommy Turbo was unbelievable. There's plenty up to Manly and Canterbury there with the Gold Coast and the Dragons there.
Yeah.
The Doldrums.
And what do they say? In Des we trust. And he's got a really good. Last year he brought a lot of kids along that weren't exposed to any first grade or very little. A couple of guys who were looking for a position from other clubs, and he's just done really well. He's moulded them into a really good top 4 side, I think.
Yeah, not much depth. That's their only problem, I reckon. Their top 17's their top 17, and I think there's a bit of a gap there for Manly. I don't think they have a lot of backup players. That's their only problem.
Yep.
I guess top 17.
Fortunately, it's a shorter season, but that could test them.
Yeah.
Well, I went to jump before anyway till you pulled me up. Thanks, Greg. And we have a look at round 4 briefly. Yep. And the Broncos and the Roosters. I think that going on the Roosters last week, they looked completely in control. The Broncos were disappointing. They've got a couple of guys out now. They've got a couple of big losses. Their captain, Alex Glenn, is out for a period of time with a really badly lacerated leg. He got sent to hospital during the game. And obviously, Tony Staggs, it was a silly penalty, and he was one of the better ones, and he's out, suspended. So, it gives them an opportunity to see this young Tessie Nu, who's been someone who the Broncos have had in their books for a few years. He played for Tonga last year against the English, and they won that test. Big raps on him. He's going to come off the bench, but I think that the Roosters are going to have too many big guns because the Broncos have already got a few down big names, and I can't see it. I can't see the Broncos getting up here. Yeah,
no, I can't see an upset Roosters by 10.
Yep. Greggy, what about the Panthers and Warriors? You want to run through that one?
Yeah, Panthers and Warriors. It's one of those games where you go, this is the test for Warriors. They've had their big win. They held the ball for 44 sets in a row. They don't back up well normally after a big win, do they? I'm keen on Penrith. Penrith by only about 2, but I reckon. I just think that the Penrith forwards will match them, and the outside backs of Penrith might get them.
Yeah, I agree. I think, no disrespect to the Dragons, but I think they're going to meet the stiffer opposition this week. They're going to be waiting for them and ready for them. Yep. But I think the Warriors will come along with their game, but I can see I think the Panthers by about 6-12.
Cool.
Next game, Greggy, Storm Rabbitohs. A couple of sides that should be thereabouts come September, October.
Yeah, I'm pretty keen on the Storm in this one. They don't lose 2 in a row at home. There's no real home anymore at the moment, but they don't lose 2 in a row. And the way Bellamy was in that press. Remember last time he was like that in the press? They came and beat Parramatta 60-6 or 60-0 up it. So watch out, Rabbitohs. I don't think Rabbitohs got any chance in this game. I reckon Melbourne by 12. I just think they'll click this time.
On a side question here, how long are they going to – look, I'm not jumping on the Bachelor, Trell, Mitchell bandwagon. I think he's a wonderful centre, but how long can they and will they persist with him at fullback, do you think?
2 more weeks, I reckon, mate.
Yep. All right. I'm joining you with this. Yeah, I can't see it being much more than that.
I like that Campbell Graham. I've got big raps on him. I reckon he's great, centre.
Yeah, absolutely. They've got a bit of depth there too that they're not using. Like Corey Allen, I don't know if he's injured or whatever.
Yeah, they do have depth in the backs.
Yeah. Look, I'm going to go the Storm too, mate. I think the Storm by about 10. This next game is a beauty. I think this could be the game of the round, and wonderful rivals in the 80s. And this may be the start of a new rivalry because they've got 2 young, enthusiastic sides that are really well coached, and they look the goods at the moment. And that's Parramatta and Manly. Yeah.
I'm all over Manly. When I say all over, I don't think they're going to win easy, but I just got a feeling they'll back it up this week. I think there's a lot more improved. When a side like Parramatta probably play, everything went their way. I'm not saying they deserve their victory. They played, when I say they went their way, they deserve that. I just think there's more up to Manly, and I think Manly might get away with this one by only 4 points, but I reckon they'll get away with it. I just think the Turbo brother, Jake and Tommy, and I think Daly Sherry Evans. The front row are unbelievable. I think the front row battle's going to be really good, isn't it?
It's going to be really good, yeah. I like their back rows, both sides' back rows too. I mentioned the Eels back row before, and Manly's back row with Joel Thompson. He just keeps on keeping on, and obviously, Jake. It's going to be a cracker. And Ciro, yeah.
Oh, Curtis, brilliant.
Look, I'm going the Eels by 2.
Yeah. Fair
really
enough.
Tough game, I think. I think it's going to be something like 14-12, something like that, I reckon.
Yeah, you gamble, you probably say, but games under 6 either side. Yeah.
Yep, absolutely. All right, this next one's interesting. The Cowboys and the Sharks. The Sharks, say what you want about them, they're a tough lot, and they're not going to be happy about last week's game. The Cowboys be really buoyed. It's up there. Like you said, it doesn't really make a difference at the moment. No crowds. The Cowboys, I think, would be buoyed by that win. Their halves gelled really well. Morgan's still a couple of weeks away, I believe. I thought Cohen Hess played really well for them last week. He's come back. He's 10 kilo or 8 kilos lighter than what he was. He's won all the skin fold tests at training, pre-season training. I think he'll play a big part in their season this year. What do you think of this one?
Yeah, I know how Hess feels with the skin fold stuff, yeah.
You're talking about the skin on the KSC.
Yeah. 100%. So, look, Hess, I thought, played well in those first 2 games as well. But I think they're not far away from starting Reece Robson at hooker. He's good off the bench, but he's a very good organiser. I think he's the real deal. Yeah. I think the Cowboys might sneak this one home. I wouldn't be surprised Cronulla win this one, but this will be a close one again. Cowboys by 2. And it won't be a high-scoring game, I reckon, because I think, as you said, I think Cronulla are going to come and try to bash them. Fafita will be back this week. I'll try bashing them. Yeah.
No, I tend to agree. I'm going to take the Cowboys. I think they'll won't be much in it. I really, as I said, I was impressed by Clifford. I think it might even be a Jake Clifford field goal, but not much in this one at all. Just on that, Reece Robson, I tend to agree, Greggy. They've obviously they signed a kid who hadn't played a lot of football. How many first-grade games would he have played?
About 5. Yeah.
So they signed him for 4 years. You don't see that very often, do you?
No.
This next one's a good one too. The Raiders and the Knights. The Knights showed a ton of courage. They're going to have a few players back.
Yep.
And the Raiders, well, I think they've set the benchmark myself.
Yeah, I agree. Ponga's back, isn't he? So Pierce he'll get over the concussion. He'll pass the concussion test. Watson may not with his ankle. That'll be a tough one whether he gets back with his ankle. And Brayley's already out for season, so McCulloch might get a game here.
Yeah, he won't let them down, I don't think.
No, they've got a bit of depth, haven't they, when you think about that?
Yep.
Yeah, they've got a few blokes who cover different positions, which is a good thing with the Knights. But Canberra are good, aren't they? I think Canberra will win this one. I like the Knights this year, but not as much as I like Canberra. Canberra by 6.
Yeah, I'm going. I don't know if we've had a split between us yet, but I'm going.
You went Para, I think, and I went Manly.
Okay. Yeah. Well, I'm taking the Raiders too, but I think it's going to be. I'm going to be a little bit more generous than that. I hope the Knights go well, but I see the Raiders probably by about 12 to 18 points in that one.
Yeah, you could be right, I reckon.
Look, the Titans and the West Tigers. It's at Suncorp. The West Tigers, as we said, were really impressive, and the Titans have got some rebuilding to do.
Yeah, they were impressive. See, there's a couple of teams playing for the be 0-4 if they lose this one, including the Titans. And I'm pretty confident they will be 0-4. I think Tigers were good enough, and I think they'll control the game. Ashley Taylor worries me still. He's trying a few things, which is good, but I don't know. Just Proctor played all right. I just don't think that they're quite up to it at the moment, unfortunately. And I'm keen on the Tigers. Yourself?
Yeah, look, no doubt they're going to be busting their ass at training. Justin Holbrook is a very good coach. He's proven it overseas, but he hasn't coached in the NRL yet.
Yep. And
he'll be trying everything he can. Meninga's come out today and gave him a spray and said basically players are going to be cut if there's not, if we don't see
it's tough.
But what do you do? Because I don't think there's a depth there that like you alluded to, there's no reserve, there's no quick Q Cup to go. And
Brimson's out as well. There's not that great deal of depth when you're missing some like AJ Brimson. They can't afford to not have their best 17 on the park.
Yeah, I see the West Tigers by 18 to 24 in this one.
Yep.
Hope I'm wrong. Look, last game of the round, the Bulldogs and the Dragons both didn't perform where they wanted them to be, I guess. It's a tough one to pick. What's the old 12th man say? That harder to pick than a broken nose.
Yeah, he does. Yeah.
What do you do here?
Don't watch it. What do you do here? Oh, after one game, they've already both had 3 games. They've only had 1 game back. But if I was McGregor, I'd be making mass changes. And I think Sterlo said if he makes mass changes, it proves he was wrong last round. Suck it in, mate. Make mass changes. Hunt the hooker. Cameron McInnes to lock forward. I'd be doing something with the halves. The halves are just not up to it together, Norman and Hunt. Something has to happen there. I think they should make mass changes this week and then give some of the young blokes a go. Canterbury, I don't mind Lachlan Lewis. A lot of people don't like him. I think his structure mustn't be there for people, but I don't mind him. At least he has a go. Yeah, Dragons by 1.
Speaking of the changes, Greg, you would have seen it through a couple of days ago. Mick Ennis, former Dragons player and Bulldogs player, came out and said, I like Mick Ennis's comments. He came out and said, I think that Ben Hunt is a great player, but he needs to, I'd be putting him at 14 to come on and be creative and do it. Do you reckon there's any merit in that?
Well, 14 or 9, one of the two. And I know that moves McInnes, but I mean, McInnes still does the tough yards in the centre, as far as tackling and ball skills. He's got the ball skills to offload. Worst case scenario, as you said, you can start McInnes at 9 and put Hunt to 14 and then move Hunt to 9 and McInnes back to 13. They may do that, but they've got to make a change somewhere.
All right. Well, that's our round. That's our wrap up.
Who'd you pick there, mate?
Oh, look, I've gone the Bulldogs a point. I don't really have you don't have a really good guide or a gauge, do you, at the moment with either side? I think that both were, really disappointing. I thought the Bulldogs' previous games were okay. The game against Parramatta, I'm pretty sure the score was 6-2. Yeah. But they haven't given us league fans a lot to go by either side.
No, haven't scored many points between them.
No. So that's our wrap up for going into week 4. Greggy, a couple of things. Our website's been up now for about a week, and really appreciate all the people who've jumped on there, had a look at things, competitions. So please do continue to go on there. Remember, it's twogoodsports.net, twogoodsports.net, and all of our socials as well. Please jump on Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter. And I know we've got a lot of competitions coming up soon. I know that we've got the great Bentley Towels are right behind us as well. So thanks to Liz and Bentley Towels out there. But and YouTube, and Keith just let me know to jump on YouTube too, and you'll see our shows and whatnot.
I've got a feeling there's a sneaky thing coming up in about a month too, Hammer. We might be Google TV. Anyway, we'll talk about that more next week, eh?
We will do. And just lastly, we've got a few guys who are doing a bit of writing for us now. Some great names of in the coaching and the playing sector and administration. We had the great Eric Groth, really popular last week. His column on if you check that out on our webpage, and we have Scott Sattler writing one this week as well. So check out. It's really well written and really interesting read. So check those out too on our twogoodsports.net. But Greggy, that's about us for this week, mate.
Yeah,
and looking forward to another week of footy, and it's great to have it back. The fake crowd noise and all.
All right, kick to the corner.
All right, mate. See you next time. Thanks, guys. Thanks for joining us.